I've been a boot boy my whole life, Louisiana made. You know? So, you know I don't play about them Saints. Shout out to Draye, shout out to Jerry. Let's go. Who that, ayy? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that, ayy? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Let's get it. On the play, Marshon, Lattimore. Running to the motherfucking bank like an animal. AK-41, leave a nigga ankle. Fall, her, let that motherfucker dangle. Shout out to my girl, she my angel. When she throw it back, I catch it like a Michael Thomas. Sitting back, waiting on my motherfucking terms. Like I'm Andy Dalton. Man, what the motherfucking deal is? I'm a motherfucking house like Tyson Hill. Yeah, you know we grindin' tryna get you meals. And you know I never took a bad deal. If the ops play, I'ma send a blitz. The Mario Davis, bitch, I'm blicking shit. I feel the dirt birds there, they talking shit. But I bet you pussy niggas ain't gon' win again. Who that, ayy? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that, ayy? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints where you ain't? Cause you can't, who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that say they
Welcome back to WhoDatTV. I am your host, Draye Allen, and man, we got a lot to talk about today. Got Saints falling to the Bucs in week 2. We got the Brawl we got to talk about. But before we get into all that, let me bring in my host, my brother, Floyd, man. What's up, my boy?
Hey, man, I can't complain. It wasn't a win this week, but there were some positives, a couple negatives, couple mistakes made. So, hey, I'm here. You know, we knew it was going to be a tough schedule to begin with, so 1-1 ain't that bad. It's always better than 0-2.
Not that bad at all, man. And we took a tough one, man, like you said. But hey, man, we're gonna jump straight into it, man. Hey, we gonna be 1-1. We all right. We gonna be all right. We still could have pulled through, but you know what it is, man. We all right.
Yeah, it was a tough game, and the defense played stout and they played well against a high-powered offense. Anytime you hold a team like that to under 10 points going in, I don't think they scored in the first half. Things like that. There's always, a few positives to take from. So, hey, we'll see them next time in Tampa.
Oh yeah, and then to remind you, everybody, next time when we do play them, we're gonna have Trevor Penning back, of course. Paulson Adebo. We're gonna touch up on the injury report from today, but he should be back too.
Kamara.
That was huge right there. Not having Kamara, but first thing first, Floyd, man, I want to hop into the key plays for the Saints loss, man. What was the key plays of for us losing, man, and what you feel like one of the key plays for our loss was?
And most of the key plays weren't positives for the New Orleans Saints. But the one that I have to point to would be the fumble, the initial turnover that kind of started that snowball and got that rolling with Mark Ingram. I felt like we were certainly pounding them in the run. Washington had a few plays where he ran over Devin White, and we had the momentum going behind us and the O-line feeling good. We were driving and we were in position to, even if we didn't get another yard, get at least 3 points, which would have put us up 6-3. And instead we turn it over, and from there they go and score. It was that initial turnover, I believe, which put us in the position to where we felt like we had to get pass heavy. I think if we would have went up 3 points, we could have kept running the football and making them have to show they can stop it. But we didn't do that, and they took the lead and ran with it.
And bro, the running was huge, bro. We was getting and a lot of people, I don't know if y'all know, man, we was averaging over 5 yards a carry on the run. And I felt like we should have stuck to that. But like you said, man, that fumble was we was going in. We could at least got 3 out of it. and that fumble was huge. You know,
Minus that turnover,
pushed
that
the
was
whole
the best
momentum.
drive of the game. Even though we scored on other drives, they couldn't do nothing with us, and then we gave them the football.
Exactly, man. And another one, man. Another one was Jameis Winston throwing that pick in the end zone to Dean. You know, way is a deep pass going to Olave. I feel like if he
Mm-hmm.
threw it to the corner of the end zone,
Exactly. Yep.
sick,
He should have put
man,
it over that second safety's
sick.
head
He
and
threw it
dropped it
to
in
the
the
he
bucket.
threw it to the post, and it was double coverage over the top. So that's what kind of hurt us, you know, on that. But yeah, man, that hurt is huge. And another one, man. Not only that, you know, they stopped us short. They stopped us short on no, we stopped them short on 3rd and 10. Excuse me. We stopped the Buccaneers short on 3rd and 10. I want to say it was a third quarter, maybe the fourth. I'm not too sure. One of them, but it was 3rd and 10, and we stopped them short, and they called that penalty on Roby with that missed tackle. And in my eyes, it was a missed tackle, bro. In my eyes.
Absolutely. That was
So
nowhere near anything unnecessarily rough. It was a football play. It wasn't anything out of pocket, and he didn't strike him in the danger zone, which is from the neck above. He
and he put
missed, honestly.
and the tight end put his head down, you know. So like, I mean, that's tough, man. It's already tough to play defense in NFL, so that was a tough call. Yeah, the ref's not perfect, but man, you got to get that right. You got to get that right,
And
man.
a play that hurt my heart because as a Saints fan, I had a little bit of hope, even though we had turned the ball over at 4 different times at that point. But at the 2 minute and 23 second mark, when we had the bomb to Olave, and I felt like for half a second he was gonna score when he caught the football, but he stumbled and went to the ground. Ended up losing the football before he was touched down officially, and that gave the ball to Tampa Bay, which officially ended the football game. They ran the clock out. I felt like if we would have scored then we could have tried for an onside and would have been down 3 points at that point. Um,
That
so
was huge. That was
yeah,
huge, man. And I can't put it all on. I mean, you know, Olave, he's a rookie still, but man, Jameis missed him, man, on 3 big passes, 3 of them. And Winston even said himself in one of the interviews that I watched. He said, you know, if I capitalize on either one out of 3 of them plays, man, that changed the football game. And I
yep.
agree, you know. So that was huge, man. And no knock to the Bucs, man. Bucs got a good defense. You know, they got a good defense with Devin White and all them over there. But at the end of the day, man, we should have won that game, man. And man, it was a tough L, man. I'm still sick about it, honestly. But you know, we got to move forward, man. We got to move forward. But
Yeah, there were plenty of mistakes made, and a lot of people are gonna put the onus on our QB1. But I don't think the biggest mistakes that he made were the turnovers. I felt like the first sack that he took in the fourth quarter to Devin White, which he took 2 separate sacks to Devin White in that quarter. The second one was his fault and could be categorized as a mistake by Winston. But the first one was an issue up front. They did a stunt on the left side of that O line and brought the linebacker late. He had a blitz where if the running back leaves the box, then he can go, and if he stays in, then he just stays and covers. And Devin White read that and got home. But that wasn't Jameis's fault. The turnovers. So the first interception, like you said, he could have placed it a little bit more towards the back pylon in the end zone over that
Mhm.
second safety's head. But I still don't feel like that should be categorized as a mistake by Winston's part. But the second interception, where he sailed the football to Dean, that was certainly a mistake by number 2, and the interception to Mike Edwards that went all the way to the house. So there were some mistakes, but not all by Winston.
I feel the same, my boy. I feel the same. We got my mama in here. She said, "Who that?
Hey, what's up,
Who that,
mom? Yeah,
mom?"
we still gotta represent.
Most deaf. And we got my boy Kendrick in here. He said his reads was a little slow too. He just seemed off. I think his discomfort affected his play. I agree, my man.
Huge point, big comment. And I also feel like I don't know if Jameis Winston was 100% healthy enough to play. Well, we know he wasn't 100%, but it came
Boy
out
got
during the football game that
four
he had
backs.
five
Oh, it's
back
five
five
back.
fractures in his back. Once I saw that stat, I got a little bit nervous because we all know how much throwing the football relies on your shoulder and your and a strong core and a strong back. So I think that could have played into his play as well.
Steph, man. You don't know how much how much that was affecting him with the fracture in his back. Yeah, he had the extra padding back there, but I mean, man, as a quarterback, man, the back got a lot to do with twisting, turning, throwing that football. So, for him just to get out there and compete, that shows a lot about Jameis Winston. I respect him to the fullest. He was getting a lot of slander by a lot of I can't call it Saints fans. I gotta call it
Right.
Aints fans, man. Because I
Exactly.
mean, if you a Saints fan, you gotta trust in your quarterback, your QB1, man. And nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had one bad game, man. But I'm not gonna knock Jameis Winston, bro. I still believe in Jameis Winston, me personally. So
Yeah, man. Nobody's gonna play a 17 game season and not have a game that doesn't go their way per se, especially at the quarterback position. So I feel like he's gonna bounce back from this and learn from the film that he put on tape. It's a long season, and sometimes different teams are going to throw different looks at you that you weren't expecting, and I think that was the case in this game. They didn't come with the linebacker blitz as much as we were expecting. They didn't man up on the back end as much as we were
but
expecting.
it
They
did a
played
lot
a
of
lot more
zone,
zone,
a
a
lot
lot more
zone.
zone. So I
So
think that threw off our initial game plan. We tried to play off of that, and it set us back. But those things happen in the National Football League.
that it does. Kendrick in here again. He said, I got faith in him. He has tangibles to be a playoff QB. Our team is good. No, Kamara was huge, which it was. Could have taken the load off the pass game. I agree, Kendrick. I agree 100%, my man.
Absolutely. And so the defense played well. I mentioned in week one how Pete Werner wasn't covering very well. And he shut my mouth on this game because he played coverage really, really well as stuffing the run. Demario Davis did his job and played a whole lot better than he did in week one. We weren't able to get home as much as we were hoping as far as getting pressure on number 12. Um, but we stuffed the run better than we were expecting. And I think that kind of evened out. It just came down to who was going to hold on to the football and not have those penalties. They ran one of those gadget plays that I also mentioned that I felt like they were going to run, where Mike Evans got it was a wheel
On the
route and it
sideline.
was a rub. And he got 42 yards out of that, and that was
Oh
pretty
no,
much their
yeah,
only
that rub
big
was
play.
kind of in the middle. I know what you're talking about on that rub play. It's kind of in the middle
Yeah,
on
it's
that rub
illegal.
play.
It's illegal,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if number 12 is your quarterback, they allow it. But I understand that we got the benefit of the doubt sometimes with number 9, with Drew back there at times. So it happens. But other than that, the defense played lights out. If your offense turns the football over 3+ times, that's almost that sets the defense back so much, and it makes it harder for them to keep points off of the scoreboard. But we still kept them under for 90% of the game under 10, under 20
Yeah,
points
and they
out of
wouldn't
the
have got that.
teams.
They wouldn't have got one of them touchdowns if it wasn't for Winston throwing one of them picks, man, pick six. So that's what I'm saying.
That
Like
too.
Tom Brady only got one of them touchdowns off a pass, that he had time on that we didn't get pressure on him on that.
Yep.
So
Their
Kendrick
offense
again,
scored one touchdown. They had 2 field goals off of turnovers. So we gave them that field position. They didn't earn it or drive down the field and get it. And you just kind of got to live with it if you're giving the football up that way.
that indeed Kendrick. Oh, that's Carmen. I'm sorry. He said I gotta say we caught it with Olave. We did. They were teaming up on MT and Juice. So Olave
Big
was
time.
getting quality looks. Got to get it to him proper. And he got to hang on to the ball that he does. That he does. But
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said, that was one play, man. And other than that, Winston, like it was all Winston to tell you. He'll tell you himself. That was all Winston on the misses, man. Every one of them passes, I feel like that was Winston missing. I want to say Olave could have caught one of them on third down.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 3rd and 10, something like that. He
I
could have
think
third and
the out
six.
route,
Yeah,
but that
but
could have been categorized as a miss by Winston also.
it's kind of low. The pass kind of low, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of his passes was either too low or too high. You know, when you did hit him in the chest, his first down, we moving the chains. You know, so man, I
Yeah,
feel
he
like
made a lot of good throws. That's the thing. With Jameis back there, even in games where he throws 3 interceptions, he might have had 5 or 6 bad throws. So I see a lot of negativity towards number 2, as if he played the whole game horribly. He put together a decent football game, and it sort of fell apart for him in the fourth quarter. But it wasn't necessarily like he was putting himself in a bad position from the get-go.
I agree, my boy. Get yourself Lava is winning his routes too. Just a few better throws. As y'all said earlier, 15 games to get it right. That's it. That is it, man.
Yeah, and we're asking a lot of him. He is a rookie. He had big production at Ohio State, so I understand them putting that responsibility on him, but it is going to take chemistry for it to produce for us down the road. Um, but he's our best option right now when teams are double teaming or zoning up on the back end with Michael Thomas and Jarvis. So he has to step up and make some of those plays, as Kendrick mentioned, and come down with some of those grabs come down with some of those footballs that he gets his hands on.
That he does. And MT had a big game again, you know, or not, you know, as much as we like to see him, you know, I feel like he should have been targeting more, you know, because when he did get the passes from Winston, he caught him point blank period more than he did in week 1, should I say. And week 1 he still went off. You know what I mean? So it's like
Exactly.
MT, man, he's still MT. He's still gonna level up. He's still gonna get us what we need
Yeah,
to win
and
ball games.
playing against one of the premier corners in the league, so I was expecting him to, not light the scoreboard up, but he played even better than I was thinking against Carlton Davis. Got in the end zone. He kind of made Carlton Davis not really an issue for us. So a lot of our problems came away from Michael Thomas. Anytime the football was going towards 13, it was incomplete or a completion. He wasn't necessarily giving up the turnover. So. Yeah, some things that we can build on. But yeah, Michael Thomas did a good job getting over the top as well too. He was getting behind
Oh yeah.
corners and behind safeties. So I like to see that, and as far as opening things up for Jarvis and Olave. So
And we're gonna be all right, man. Another thing I want to get into, man. Another thing. And Kendrick just mentioned it right here. That ejection was huge. Shift the game. Brady only TD was on PJ, who played safety for us all through last season. I like PJ as safety more than corner. And
that's exactly what Draye said
I
3
said
weeks
that
ago.
2-3 weeks ago. I said the same thing, Kendrick, man. Like, dog, if he's not at corner, if he has safety or even a slot, man, dude's gonna ball out with that cornerback, with something about that cornerback position where he gets burnt a lot, and it's different.
Anything outside the numbers, he's a liability, somewhat of a liability.
And it is real different. It's different from playing cornerback and then trying to come and play safety. Man, that's two different positions. You know, they do the same thing, but it's two different positions, bro. Like as far as playing cornerback and safety. So it's a lot for PJ, man. And I can't hold PJ, fully accountable because we are kind of short on the DBN with a Debo being out. But
Yep.
another cornerback or safety, should I say, that played well was Alontae Taylor coming in the ball game.
Made plays.
He had some key plays, man. He had some key plays. But speaking on that ejection, man, I want to get into that brawl, man, between Mike Evans and
I have so many comments. I have so many thoughts. Okay, so my biggest thought, and maybe people are gonna drag me for this. So let's disregard how it started or anything like that, and let's just look at what happened after the brawl began. Once Mike Evans made impact with Marshon Lattimore, how are we just gonna let Tom Brady walk away from that? No, walk towards the commotion. I don't know.
Tom Brady was the
I would have speared
instigator.
him. I would have speared him. I would have speared him.
Tom Brady was the instigator. I'm tired of
I,
him. I'm
I would
tired
have.
of Tom Brady. I wasn't
If
trying
I
to
was
rant.
on the football field, I would have speared him.
Man, look, point blank period, because I'm sick of it. Look, he starts it. Leonard pushes, they of course you're gonna yap back and forth. It's football. It's football. But man, I lost so much respect for Leonard. I know you're trying to, protect your cornerback and stuff, but man, you started that whole thing. Leonard Fournette. You started the whole thing, bro. Like you shoving him, and I know that ref seen it because come on, man, you're right there. You seen Tom Brady coming to you complaining about the call. And then Leonard shoved Marshon Lattimore in the. Come on, man. What you expect Lattimore to do? Of course he gonna shove you back. Somebody push me, I'm gonna push him back. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. But that happens, and then of course Tom Brady, he's just walking up, not doing, just keep steady yapping, and then here come Mike Evans off the sideline, and he should have got more than one game, my opinion, man.
Absolutely. And so they set the precedent at 1 game suspension for this type of deal because this isn't the first time Mike Evans has gotten an altercation very similar to this with Marshon Lattimore. And in that season, he got a 1 game suspension as well. So look, man, if I were a New Orleans Saint, any skirmish, any tussle, anything like that, now they've shown that it's okay to run in there like a wild, crazy banshee and take somebody's head off, and you're only going to get tossed and 1 game suspension. I would do that to one of the best players on that team if that's legal. And then the NFL and put the responsibility on the NFL. But that's childish of me. I understand that's a fantasy of mine. It's not going to happen that way. But the NFL has to crack down on things like this if they don't want those results to happen. People are going to take it that way, and we're going to see a lot more of these skirmishes go left, and that's not good for the game of football. So he should have gotten more than 1 game. It shouldn't have ever gotten to that point. The refs were trying to de-escalate it without penalizing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I don't think is fair. If they throw a penalty flag while the chirping is going, or if they break it up, it doesn't get there. So I give the refs an F on that particular instance. I feel like they honestly kind of refed a good football game, but to let that get out of hand definitely set the New Orleans Saints back. Both teams lost premier players, and it made it a lesser football game that the Buccaneers ran away with.
Man, they knew what they was doing, man. Lattimore was locking everybody up on the field, bro. And he been like that. Dude only allowed like 14 yards in 2 weeks, bro. That's amazing. You know what I mean? So they know what kind of player Lattimore is. He's top 2 cornerback in my eyes. He's on top 2 cornerbacks, bro. They know they got to get that man out the game.
Absolutely.
You're aggravating Tom Brady. You got Tom Brady throwing his helmet. You got Tom Brady throwing the tablet. You got him hollering at his offense. You got
and they've got 3 points on the board up until that point.
Exactly, man. And man, I lost all kind of respect for Mike Evans. I've been kind of lost a lot of respect for him these past years, but after this past game, I definitely lost a lot of respect for him. Tom Brady, I lost a lot of respect for the GOAT. And Leonard Fournette, man, you instigated it all from your push. It started everything. So, man, that's just out of line. My boy said top 2, not 2.
I'm telling you,
with Lattimore.
Marshon is that deal. He really is. And so without that instance happening and our premier defensive player getting taken off the field, I honestly don't think they would have gotten in the end zone for that 1 touchdown that they had to Russell Gage. So they would have had to rely on field goals and us giving them the football, which we weren't doing up until that point. So it certainly changed the football game, and not for the better for the New Orleans Saints.
And that it did. Kim Timmy D said Bucs might be the new rival.
Yeah, it's on site. I ain't gonna hold you. It's on site. It's on site with them. I ain't gonna hold you.
And last pod, man, I made it very clear that they are not our rivals. But man, the more that I'm looking at it, man, it might be. You know what I mean? Like we can't stand them. We can't stand them. And I thought we couldn't stand the Falcons, but man, look, this here, man, especially after this past
Yeah,
weekend.
and a big thing that fuels into the rivalry is the fact that they they're a good football team, but if you look at the matchups, they truly have no business really being on the football field with us, and that's no bias on my opinion. But we match up really well against them, and they look very pedestrian when they play the New Orleans Saints. So it's like outside forces kind of affect that to try to make it more of an even matchup. And when I speak of that, I mean the referees and things of that nature. Um, so it kind of does make it fuels into the hatred for that football team because we should be doing them bad and they're not letting us do them bad.
Exactly.
Like, what's up? Yeah, Russell's a playmaker, man. Russell Gage, 17 for the Bucs. He always finds a way to get open, especially on those downs when other defenses are playing well against Julio or Mike Evans or whoever might be outside of him. He's a dog. NFLSU.
Who that?
Yes,
Who that?
sir.
Kendrick said Tom made this a rivalry. I agree. You know, if Tom wasn't there, man, we wouldn't even be talking about no rivalry right now. Honestly. And when he leave, man, they going right back to like I said, as soon as Tom Brady leave, Buccaneers is going right back to doo-doo. And I'm gonna be the first to say
Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't like how Devin White be talking either. That's the homeboy, man.
it.
Like, come on, man. You don't
He,
gotta
he got
do us
to.
bad like that. Show
He got
love,
to.
man.
He got to
You
because
know?
it's his defense. He got that C on his chest, so he got to talk his talk. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't like how he down Winston in that little interview that he had. I ain't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that at
yeah. I
all.
heard that. I heard that. I heard
Yeah,
the comments that he made.
I ain't
He
like
he
that at all,
he
man.
had two huge sacks and other big plays in the fourth quarter. He was all over the field. Um, so I guess he's got a little leeway to talk his talk. I
Yeah,
understand.
Kendrick said, "How y'all feel about the Panthers matchup?" We're gonna touch on that in just a second. Kendrick, tune
Hey,
in.
I got some
We're
notes.
gonna we're gonna we're gonna tune in that, my boy. Before we tune on that, I want to get into the stats for the Saints and the Buccaneers, man. I got them right here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop them on the board for us. But man, it was huge, man. The stats is kind of even when you really look at it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is right here. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, total plays 66 us, 65 them. You know, we had 308 yards. They had 260 total yards. The penalties, we talking about the refs a lot. The penalties, if you look at it, man, they had more yards lost to the penalties than us, man. We
And we
went,
did. Yeah, they
you
did
know what I
have some
mean?
setbacks.
So we had 5 turnovers, which was huge, of course. We was 4 for 13 on third downs, which we gotta do way better at. It was 5 for 17, so big props to our defense. Neither one of us, converted on fourth down. We was 25 for 40, 206 in the passing. They was 18 for 34 with 188. Both had a passing TD. The rushing was 20 attempts for us for 102 yards, 30 attempts for them for 72 yards. No rushing TDs for either one of us, and we held on to the ball longer than they had the ball. So,
And that's
that's
and that's the recipe for a win. So the three biggest takeaways from that were the fact that we outrushed them. If you would have told me going into the football game that we were going to rush for more yards than we allowed, I would have felt like we were going to win. The fact that the penalty difference was on our side. If you would have told me that they would have had more penalties, and a lot of theirs were stifling their offensive drives, so they were huge penalties on offense. But I would have thought that we would capitalize and come out with a win on that. And time of possession, us holding on to the football longer than they possessed it, even giving away 4 turnovers, says a whole lot about how we pretty much dominated the football game and threw it away.
exactly. We just gave him the ball, man, and a lot of that was on Winston's part. And you watch his interview, he the first one to admit it. Everything was on him as far as giving them the ball. He got to do a better job at protecting that football as a quarterback.
The first turnover was a lot bigger, I believe, than all 3 of his interceptions, though. So when Ingram fumbled the football, it felt like a given that we were going to go score and take points and take the lead. Um, on all of Winston's interceptions, we were behind on the score. So it's a little bit of difference just to put it into context.
I agree, my boy. Jameis Winston didn't have a bad game, but minus the picks. 25 for 40 with 236, man. He averaged 5 yards with one TD to Michael Thomas in the end zone. I feel like we should have went to Hill more, honestly. And I was big on, that was a Sean Payton thing with Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
But this game, I feel like we should have went to Hill more, man. Look at his longest run, 13 yards.
Yeah, and that was his first tote. We didn't go back to him. I think we went back to him one more time on that same drive, and we didn't get that Wildcat going like we should have, especially in a low-scoring game. I was always told that in games where it's 10-10, 3-3, 3-0, 0-0, first downs feel like touchdowns for the defense. So anytime we can draw up something, get 12 yards on a dink or dunk, or quarterback sweep or quarterback power, that almost hurts the heart of the defense, and makes them want to change up some things. And I don't think we went back to that when we saw some success with it.
I agree. And
Washington played really well too.
did.
We could have given him some more totes. Like I said, he ran over Devin White at least twice.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he only ran the football 4 times. So
And he averaged 4 yards a carry, man, 18 yards. So
and it was all downhill. So I think he'll get more, almost guaranteed, more than 4 totes against Carolina next week off of what he put on film this week. But Washington played well. Alvin Kamara practiced today, so hopefully we see him in that running back lineup, and it can get back to a 3-headed monster. So yeah, there's a few takeaways. You only lose to 10. You only lose by 10 points to a team that's talented. That's that talented without Alvin Kamara, your best ball handler. So
most definitely.
it's not all bad.
And Landry, four receptions, 25 yards. 10 was his longest. Olave, man, and them stats be way better if he would have connected, if Winston would have connected with him on 3 of them passes. But just for them alone,
misses. Maybe the biggest plays of the game were all those 3 incompletions going that way.
Like I said, Mike Thomas, he could have had a way better game if we would have went to him more. They had 6
early on.
receptions.
Yeah, we should have got him going early. Put that pressure on him.
Yeah, and you look at the defensive side, man. Can't complain on the defensive side, man. Everybody making plays over there. If you look at it, everybody, man, from Davenport to Davis, Evans, everybody, man. I can't complain on that defensive end. So
no, they were flying around. They were playing inspired. We just got to get home more. So I don't know if it's a scheme thing, but this is a second game where we didn't have a whole lot of sacks. The first game we definitely didn't get home one time. So we got to scheme up ways to get home, whether it's the linebackers or it's those front 3 that we're sending every down. Somebody's got to get there if we're gonna win football games.
That's it. And we can touch on the Buccaneers stats too, man. We can look at theirs real quick. Tom Brady, man, if you look at it, we really locked in on Tom Cat, man. 18 for 34. He had 190 yards with 1 touchdown, but for the most part, man, we pretty much locked in on Tom Cat. We had him mad. We had him throwing that helmet.
Exactly, throwing his little the little pad, little tablet.
I can't wait to see him again, man. Leonard Fournette, his long stuff on him
on every run. So like you said, he had a long of 13 yards, and he still averaged 2.7 yards per carry. They weren't getting really anything done running the football.
3-6-9 punt.
Yeah. Almost every time out. If they were moving the chains, we were doing a good job of coming back and getting a 3 and out after that initial first down. Yeah, man, we stuffed the run, and that was pretty much the biggest key towards a win.
That was it. You look at their defense, and then the defense pretty much balled out too for the most part.
Yeah, that's what won them the game.
That's what in the game right there.
Outside of the interception by Mike Edwards that went all the way to the house, the Tampa Bay Bucs would have only had 13 points. Anytime an NFL team can hold the opposition to under 14, that should be converted into a win. So the defense, hats off to the New Orleans Saints defense and the Tampa Bay defense, because both of them did their jobs and played well enough to win.
Yep. Carmen said had to take PJ out the box when Sean got ejected.
Yeah, and that hurt us. That hurt us.
He also said Saints are the only team that makes Tom Brady look regular every single time they play him, even in a loss. Yep.
Very pedestrian. But, so he didn't play overwhelmingly great against Dallas, which is why I felt really good coming into this game, because he didn't have a fantastic game in Dallas when they scored 19 points. So that's 2 games for them, and they're averaging 19 and a half on offense with a defensive touchdown being scored. So that says a lot about the struggles that Tampa Bay is facing on offense, even though they're having big plays. A bomb to Julio in the first game, a bomb to Michael Evans in the second game. They're not finishing drives. They're not really putting points on the board like that.
They not. And man, them having Godwin out and of course Evans got ejected with my boy Lattimore, and they got what, about 3 or 4 off of now 4, I want to say, offensive linemen out. So man, they got a lot to deal with next week against the Packers. So
yeah,
but we'll see how
that'll
that
be
goes.
a low scoring game too, I believe.
We'll see how that goes, man. But enough all the negative, man. What's the positives we could take from the L moving into week 3?
Defense. Hey man, the defense played lights out. I literally just watched the entire football game right before jumping on with you, bro, and I couldn't be more impressed with what the defense put on film. They played inspired. They flew around. They didn't make very many mistakes. So Tampa Bay did a good job of finding, those holes in the zone. We zoned up a little bit against them too. They had a few corner routes that they hit on, and that wheel route that I mentioned where they slotted up Mike Evans. And those are gadget type plays. Those weren't coming very often. And we were lights out against the run. So we made it as difficult as you can hope to make it against an NFL team. The special teams played well. They didn't make mistakes. So there were some positives. I feel like we protected Winston a lot better than we did in the first game.
That was gonna be one of mine, Floyd. That O line.
They only really got home in the second half.
That O line did way better in week 2 than we did in week 1, man. Because you look at week 1, the Falcons was getting to Winston a lot more than the Buccaneers was in week 2.
Early they were getting to him, and in this game he was safe and comfortable.
He had some time, but it was all on Winston, man. It was all on him.
And again, like I mentioned, I don't think he's 100%. So some of those misses, the first bomb that Olave, I believe, was wide open on, and he sailed it maybe 20 yards over his head on a go route, I think was a back issue. Sometimes, I don't know. It didn't feel like a natural throwing motion that he made on that first one.
It ain't a normal pass, Winston, with him. Like, Winston, without the back issue, man, Winston would have dotted that. And
I believe so.
Man, look, you gotta look at last year from the pass to Hardy. It was Harris then, but Hardy now. The dot over the top, man, was perfect, a perfect dot, and that's what Winston known for. He known for them long, deep dots. And I feel like bucket. As much as I don't want to put it on his back, because he came in the game. So hey, I feel like you want him to come in the game and play. All the back and all the injuries, that's out the door, because you got in that game. You want to perform, you want to win. You want to win for the team. But man, it affected him. I don't care what nobody say, it affected him, and all the slender.
It's what it looked like visibly. He didn't look like he had the same throwing motion that he had in week 1. So he had better timing, and he was getting to his back foot quicker. But what came off of his shoulder and what came off of his wrist was a little bit different because of what he's dealing with in the lower back.
Exactly. Got Jerome Chambers in here. He said, "Rise up, Red Sea." It's a Cardinals.
Okay.
Cardinals fan. I see you, my man.
They had a
See you.
dazzling win. Yeah, they went down to the wire for real.
That they did. But yeah, man, the O line, the defense, Jamin, we got AK. You know, I'm glad to see him at practice again. Not only AK, we got a depot back at practice. That's
Yeah,
huge,
full
huge.
participant. So they weren't limited. It wasn't uh without contact. So
Hmm.
that's a good sign. If they practice on Thursday and things like that, we'll more than likely see them on the field, which I believe we will against Carolina.
And speaking on Carolina, man, we got them in week 3 at their house. Watched a little bit of their highlights. I'm not too big on them, honestly, but that's just me personally. I feel like we play our ball, we gonna dominate, but I'm not gonna speak soon. I'm gonna knock on wood because Lord have mercy. Lord knows we needed this pass dub, but we didn't get it. I wanted us to go, start off the season 3-0 in our division, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. I feel like we can take Carolina. They always play us tough though at their house, so they do got a good defense over there too.
Yeah, and they're gonna be hungry. So they haven't gotten a turnover this year, I don't believe. That defense. So they got Shaq Thompson out there flying around, making plays, but they're gonna be hungry and trying to get off the field and trying to force turnovers. So yeah, like it's a bounce back. We got to bounce back against them. It's a bounce back game for us for sure. But I feel like Carolina kind of has that same mentality coming into the football game, having not really played that well.
Yeah, and we always play. If you look at the past games when Baker was on the Browns, we play well against Baker, man. We don't let Baker show out against us. So I feel like, him being with the Panthers, yes, a new team and all, but man, we can get this one, man. We play our football, we can get this one. I feel like we're gonna be hungry coming off this L that we should not have taken. I don't care what nobody say we should not have took this L, man. But it's NFL, it's football, man. Anything can happen on any given day. So Carmen also said, seems like DJ Moore eats up on big plays when he plays us, gotta bottle him up. I agree, Carmen.
Yeah, for sure. And what they do well is they slide him up, like we saw some issues with Evans when he slided up, and run crossing routes. So they I think they throw about 190 yards per game. It's only through 2 games, but they're not really taking the top off of guys. They're kind of getting in situations where they feel like they're gonna be facing zone and running crossers and trying to hit more behind those in some of those holes. And he's really good at finding where he needs to be,
Hmm.
depending on what the defense is doing. So that's who we definitely have to key in on, which is number 2 on the Carolina Panthers. If we're not seeing him catch a lot of those crossing routes, I think we'll do a good enough job, uh, pressing. Marshon Lattimore wasn't hit with the suspension like Mike Evans, so he'll be out there and we'll be able to scheme up and play a little bit better than we did in the second half against the pass because of that.
And he shouldn't have even he shouldn't even got it tossed out that game. But hey,
Yeah, I don't understand, but I agree with it, but I don't understand.
yeah, I ain't in New York making them calls, so whatever. But yeah, we gonna be all right, man. I feel like we're gonna bounce back. Like Jerome said, we're gonna bounce back in week 3 against the Panthers. Uh, I do got us winning that game, of course, but we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah, as long as we hold on to the football, McCaffrey's gonna do what he's gonna do. If he's healthy, he's gonna get his. There's only so much you can do with a guy who's that talented. So it's just on our it's our responsibility to bottle up what else the other things that they do well.
Mm-hmm.
So taking away DJ Moore, taking away the tight end and those crosser routes that they love, making them have to live in the flats where we're running towards that and making a tackle. That's gonna play well for us. If they're having enough time to drop all the way back and wait for that crosser route to get open and still be able to hit them, then we're gonna have trouble getting off the football field. But I see us getting the win as well.
And we need to get to Baker, bro.
Yeah, we got to get home.
Man,
I need to see at least 2 sacks this game, or
it's
I'm
driving
gonna
me
be
because
concerned.
off that D line, man. Last year and the year before, man. If you look at it, man, we always in the backfield. And there's something about this year, bro. I haven't seen it these 2 games. I haven't seen it, man.
No,
I haven't. I don't know. We got Cameron Jordan over there, man. I need you in the backfield, my boy. I need Cameron Jordan to get some pressure.
yeah, he's playing down the line defense,
Yeah,
gap
I'm,
control. But I want to see him show a little bit of wiggle and get out of that and get home. So hopefully he can.
that's it. That's it. We got Jerome here again. He said it's going to be a good game between Cards against the Saints. Got a root for my boys. Appreciate you, my boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a shootout and a fun game to watch with both of those quarterbacks.
Carmen said that secondary isn't deep enough. One of our wide receivers is going to feast.
That's the thing, yeah. So they're top heavy. They got Dante Jackson, who I think had back-to-back 7+ interception seasons coming out of LSU. So he's gonna be strapped up and ready to go back there. And it's just a matter of putting the football where he isn't at. They don't have very much other firepower on the back end that's that talented as Jackson is. So I agree with Carmen. We need to find those mismatches and exploit them.
That's it. That's it. We do that, man. It's a walk in the park.
Kamara is gonna make that a whole lot easier for Jameis. Also, we didn't have that security blanket to drop off to, so we were in obvious passing downs. We were just keeping Washington or keeping Ingram in there to pass block, or going double tight and letting one of them run a route. Versus Kamara is going to be able to get open quick enough to where Jameis can hit him before the defense gets home on him. So I think that's going to make Carolina think twice about sending those wild card blitzes that Tampa Bay was able to get away with.
I agree. But I feel like we're gonna be fine overall against the Panthers. Yeah, they're gonna play us tough. We're at their house, so they got the home field behind them. But other than that, man, we're gonna be all right. I'm not too much worried about it. But you know, we got to take it a game at a time, and we got to get this one on our belt, man. Because hey, the Bucs sitting over there nice 2-0. You know,
Yeah, I don't like that. That don't sit well with my spirit.
so we got to top it. Which the Bucs, Floyd, man, they got a tough schedule. I looked at their schedule, bro, and they got a tough one just like us. So
Yeah, maybe harder. They got a harder road, I believe. With the teams they're playing.
I got them dropping the bag on some games, and Tom Brady, yeah, he the GOAT, but he ain't looking like the Tom from last year, if you ask me.
No, that offense is really, really going slow, but I'll caution you, bro. It's scary to think about, but he's looking like the Tom Brady from 2020 when they actually did go win it. He wasn't playing extraordinary early on in that season either. He was just learning the offense.
Yeah.
And they were looking bad. And I felt real good after the first 2 weeks. And they went on and won the Super Bowl. So if he can get things figured out as well as his defense is playing, it's going to be tough. But the saving grace is that offense hasn't figured it out yet. Only scoring 1 touchdown, I think, in both week 1 and the second week.
They scored 2 touchdowns total in 2 weeks.
So
and that's not
a lot.
Like them, you know.
Hopefully it can stay that way. But they're 2-0 with that bad of offensive production. So that's a little scary.
Yep, I agree. But yeah, man, I feel like we'll pull through against the Panthers, regardless of what Tom Brady and them got going. I feel like we're gonna be straight against them Panthers, and that's our next opponent. So we're gonna be all right. 1-1. I'll take it. You know what I mean? We're going for 2-1.
Right. We gonna right the ship right here. We just gotta stop the run because I do not feel like, knock on wood, don't think Baker Mayfield is gonna kill us over the top. With the secondary that we have out there and the offensive scheme that they run. So we just have to get off of the field as a defense and hold on to the football as an offense.
Yes, and get to Baker Mayfield, man, because Baker Mayfield, he's not as fast, but he can get up and go too when he need to get that first down. So
he'll scramble if he wants to. So he didn't show it a lot in the last 2 seasons because there was so much speculation on his contract situation, and he was trying to amass as many passing yards as he could because that's going to turn into dollar signs, which makes sense. But that's behind him. He'll take off if he needs to, I believe. So we have to bottle that up as
Gotta
well.
get to him, man. We gotta get more pressure than what we got against the Falcons and the Buccaneers. That's a must. And we do that, we're gonna be all right, you know. So, but other than all that, man, we got our Breezy picks week 2,
Ah,
and it was a tough one for me and you again, Floyd. I didn't expect a lot of games to go how they went.
I know. I think my first soda early in the day, maybe by 1 or 2 p.m. Sunday, I was already like 0-2, 0-3.
Patriots, man, the Patriots end up coming on top of the Steelers. We got them 17-14. You picked the Patriots winning, and I picked the Steelers. That was a shootout game. I watched the highlights on that game, and it was pretty much back and forth on the Patriots and the Steelers. So, but it was a shootout game, man. Both quarterbacks were turning the ball over. I want to say Trubisky, he had a
hmm
few turnovers, but other than that, man, it was a shootout. But the Patriots ended up coming on top.
Yep,
But
yep. And that was pretty much the difference. I felt like Mac Jones played better than Mitch Trubisky, and it was a slight margin. But I don't think that would have been the case if TJ Watt was healthy and was on the field.
yeah,
So that was a huge injury, and that was pretty much the difference in the game.
and they say he should be out about 4 weeks, no surgery. So that's good on TJ Watt's end. Uh,
Yeah, can you imagine he tore his pec? How you tear your pectoral and just come back?
yeah, I don't
A
know.
month? You tore it?
Hey, them Watt boys built different over there. You
What?
know that.
What? Hey, it's extra cold up there. I guess you're getting extra cryotherapy in Pittsburgh. Golly.
And also, man, we had the Dolphins and the Ravens in our pick. And the Dolphins, man, that was a game, a ball game, man. They end up coming back against the Ravens. The Ravens looked like they had them.
Yeah, surprised me. And so my pick was based off of Lamar balling out, which he did,
Yep.
and they still didn't come down with the win. So, hey, hats off to Miami. They played really well.
Tua, Hill. I got Hill in my fans. He dropped me about 40 piece.
40 something.
All of them, man. Hill,
Jalen Waddle,
Waddle, and Tua was even they all went off, man, and they end up coming
40
out.
piece.
Yes, Tua ended up throwing that pass to Waddle in the end zone for the dub to make the score 42-38. They came on top. Yeah, man. Good game by the Dolphins, man. They pulled through for that one.
Yeah, man. I really only got to watch the second half of it, but I feel like that's probably the game of the year. If there aren't any other games that kind of go down to the wire like that, um, that might be the best game that we've seen this football season with the back and forth, the way that they went back and forth. And Lamar showed that he deserves whatever he's asking for, 232
I
guaranteed or whatever, man. Pay
agree.
that man.
Corey said they need to pay him ASAP, and I feel the same.
Or we might throw that bread at him a little bit later if they keep playing with him.
Corey said Lamar had one of the best games I've seen and lost.
Sure did.
Hey, with the passing and the running, he was doing it all, man. Lamar is that boy, man.
He played lights out. So he always, I don't know if y'all remember last season and the season before, he had a big game in both of those seasons against the Dolphins. I think one was in Miami and one was in Baltimore. But so that's why I felt like he's going to light it up against them boys. It's his hometown squad. He may be playing in a Dolphin uniform if Baltimore don't want to come with that money, or he might come over to New Orleans where it's good and see what a beignet is about.
Hey, could you imagine though? We got Lamar or no, not the Winston, man, but I'm just saying, Lamar or Mahomes on the Saints, man.
Something.
Hey, well, I couldn't even imagine. And also, man, we had the Seahawks and the 49ers. We both picked the 49ers, and they ended up coming on top 27-7. Dominated that game, so that was also a good game by the 49ers. Yeah, they balled out, man. They
played well, and they lost Trey Lance, so there's a good chance he's gonna undergo. I think he underwent surgery on Monday, and they're repairing his broken ankle. Who knows if they make a deep playoff run, he might come back. But as of right now, it's looking like he's not gonna play again this season. So I don't know how that's gonna fare for San Fran. Yes, Jimmy G came in and They almost didn't miss a beat. They really didn't.
And
Might have turned up a
yeah.
little harder than they did with Lance, but um, the more film that he puts out there, I think defensive coordinators are going to kind of get a feel for what Jimmy Garoppolo likes to do, like they've done in the past. So moving forward, it might be a little grim, but that's a huge win, especially when you lose your quarterback.
Oh yeah, and like I said, man, Jimmy G, he know the system, so it's a loss, but it's not a loss because Jimmy G, he been there, he been doing it for the 49ers. He took the 49ers to the playoffs, so
That's a tough break for them. They lucky they kept him. That would
hey,
have been their season.
hey, for real,
They
for real,
almost traded him, tried to trade him.
yep. And then move on to we had the Bengals and the Cowboys. We both picked them Bengals winning. I didn't expect the Cowboys to come on top, man, but they end up coming on top 20-17. Big game. Yeah, man. I don't got too much to say about that game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush carried the whole entire Dallas Cowboys team on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke Elliott didn't play well. Tony Pollard kind of picked up the load, but for the most part, Cooper Rush won the football game with his play.
Yep.
He almost outplayed Joey Burrow, which I wouldn't have bet on in 1,000 years. So that was the difference in the football game, and that's the reason I was not victorious in my Breesy pick.
And I wasn't either, man. Cause I thought, like I said, I thought Burrow was gonna, come back huge after throwing them 4 picks the week prior to playing the Cowboys, but Cowboys held their own, and yeah, man, they got that dub, and hats off to the Cowboys, man. They did that 2017.
Yeah, they play lights out. And speaking of NFLSU, that might have been the least productive football game we've seen from Jamar Chase in a long time, maybe since his days as first year at LSU. So whatever the Cowboys did, they just put some film out really that's going to show other teams how they're going to want to try to scheme up Cincinnati. So and another point regarding the Bengals is I think I saw a stat that said there hasn't been a team that went 0-2 and made the playoffs in a long time, or won a playoff football game in a long time. So Cincinnati kind of set themselves back, and they're going to have to outplay Pittsburgh and Baltimore, maybe even Cleveland, who's playing well, if they want to get into the playoffs at all.
Yeah. So hats off to the Cowboys, man. They got that dub. They pulled through, and I didn't pick them to win, but hey, they came out on top. And then we'll move on
in
Dallas. So that's huge. And we'll move on to them old Bears and the Packers. Man, I had the Packers. You had the Bears that game.
What was I thinking?
And the Packers ended up coming on top 27-10. So huge game by the Packers. A-Rod. He did what he did. Could have played better, but he did what he did, and man, they pulled through. They pulled through with that 27-10 dub. So shout out to the Packers.
Fields played well. Rodgers just ended up playing better.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they had a better game plan and a plan to get the run going. Aaron Jones had probably the biggest game. Certainly the biggest game he's had this season regarding how week 1 went. But the biggest, he played the best in that football game and pretty much carried them to the win. He kept Green Bay on the field and kept a lot of those drives going, which kept Justin Fields, watching from the sideline. And there's only so much you can do.
Yep, that's it. And we also had the Titans and the Bills. Woo! Hey, we both picked the Bills, and hey, we was right about that. And man, them dudes, they are not missing a beat. I'm talking about week by week. The Bills is not missing a beat, man, and they end up coming on top 41-7. Yo, I'm talking about, hey, Allen's and Diggs connection is different. I don't know what them boys.
Yeah, man.
Yo.
And they scheme him up well to where pre-snap, the DB might not think he's on an island, but as the snap progresses, he ends up being on a one-on-one island by himself out there, butt naked. And there's only so much you can do with a player as talented as Diggs. So that was the pick that I was probably the most confident in. going into this week with the 9 picks that we made.
We gonna,
I'm
hey, we
gonna
gonna
get into that. Yeah, I'm
touch on that.
popping my collar. I ain't gonna hold you.
We're
So
gonna touch on that.
let me check the matchup, man. So going into Monday night, I was down by about 50 points, which isn't irregular, being that I have 4 different Buffalo Bills in my starting lineup. Um, but as the game progressed, I went from a projected like 20 something percent to win all the way up to 90 with the performance that Josh Allen put in. So Diggs scored 45 points for me, which was the big key. And
Yeah,
Josh Allen backed that up with 30. Um, I also have Isaiah McKenzie in my lineup and Dawson Knox. So we saw a lot of production on Monday night that took us over the top, and we were able to get that win. Yes, sir. Shout out to the Bell Bondsman. 2-0. Gotta get it right. Gotta represent. Get it.
crazy, man. Hey, that was crazy. And hey, y'all barely pulled it through too, boy.
I
I'm
didn't
talking.
think we're gonna win after how well his team played on Sunday. So I can't be any more I can't complain at all. I'm popping my collar.
Ah, yeah. And the next game I want to move into, man, on the Breezy picks was the Vikings and that Eagles game. And I actually tuned into that whole game. I didn't even catch the how I just tuned into that whole game. And man, Hurts
Yeah, yes. Darius Slade, man, he played
and
off the
Slay.
charts. And I kind of
Hurts,
predicted that
Slay.
he would play well against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, dog. I'm talking about they shut out Jefferson, man. Slay didn't allow nothing. And then it seemed like Kirk Cousins was just, look, here you go, Slay. Every play, here you go.
Yeah.
You can have the ball. I'm like, man.
Yeah, he
But
caught 2 interceptions and he dropped at least one, but I think he dropped a couple as well, which in good coverage is going to happen. You're not always going to catch every interception that you have. You made a great break
two,
on, but exactly. So he
two,
had more than one opportunity to catch more than 2 picks, and so that says a lot against a premier receiver like that, man. It was lights out.
and Darius Slay ended up getting that defensive player of the week. And man, them boys is something to look out for. That defense is crazy. Hurts
Who did
is
I pick in that game? I forgot.
You picked the Eagles.
Okay,
We both ran with the Eagles
okay.
that game, so we both ran with them, and they end up coming on top 24-7. They balled out, man, and like it should have been 24-14, but like we said, Slay with the pick in the end zone on Jefferson.
Yeah, so it's crazy to think he could have played that well, and if he doesn't catch 2 interceptions, maybe Minnesota gets the win. So he had to play that well just to propel his team up enough over how talented that Vikings team is. So he definitely deserved Player of the Week.
Oh yeah, he said Cousins trusted JJ big time. That's why he kept going their way.
You have to. I don't care who you got back there throwing the football. If you got a receiver that talented, you have to give him the opportunities to make plays. Which I said I thought it was going to be like a stalemate. I felt like 98% of the league doesn't have what they need to really even stay on the field, stay within 5 yards of Justin Jefferson. But I thought Philly did with Darius Slay. So
Yeah,
it kind of came into fruition. And that's not taking him off of the field. He still had 4 receptions for, I believe, 53 yards. That's just not the production that he's used to,
yeah.
and the production that the Vikings need for them to catch a win.
Mm-hmm. And them Eagles, man, they somebody look for. They somebody look out for. And the NFC,
Scary,
they
scary.
they a scary team, and we will see them week 17. I've been talking mess to Shad, my cousin, and of course my fiance and
Yep.
everybody else. So yeah, man, them Eagles, man, they a team to look out for. They a scary team in the NFC, and hey, them boys is balling this year, most definitely.
Yeah, it's close to home. I feel you, bro. It's gonna come down to, in which I was kind of afraid of. I feel like it's going to come down to uh us in Philly in week 17. One of us is going to need to get a win, whether that's to get a week 1 bye in the playoffs, or
Just to
whether
make it.
it's one of us making the playoffs and making that last wild card slot.
Yep.
So they're off to a good 2-0 start. Hurts is off to a really, really good start and playing as well as he's played in his career. So that's a little bit scary to see as a Saints fan, knowing we got them down the road.
Exactly, and we do struggle with them running quarterbacks, and Hurts been running his ass off. And but
Getting to it.
they got the Commanders this weekend, so I will be tuning into that game too and see how that goes. But yeah, man, they somebody to look forward to, man. Hey, it's huge.
It's gonna be a big game. We need to come with a win, come down with a win. In those later games, I think to set us up for the best chance of success in the postseason. Everybody talks about how the NFC isn't as talented and the AFC is stacked, which is somewhat true, but it's still going to be a gauntlet trying to get through the NFC and get to that Super Bowl game.
Oh yeah, he still got A-Rod on the Packers to watch out for. He still got them Tom Brady and the GOAT with the Buccaneers and that heavy defense. You still got Jalen Hurts with that stout defense and doing what he does.
They got a lot.
They got a lot, man. And the Vikings they're not a sleeper either. You know, they're not. So
oh yeah,
you know, so it's huge, man. We'll move on to them old Cardinals and the Raiders. I had the Cardinals, you had the Raiders, and the Cardinals ended up pulling off 29-23 on that game. So that was a close game, man. But the Cardinals end up getting the job done. Watched a little bit of them highlights too. I seen Kyler Murray just having all the time in the world to throw the football. And I want to say one of the plays, man, he had all the time in the world, and he ended up looking here, looking there, directed traffic, and then ran it in himself. So
dove right down the middle of the in between hash marks, so middle of the field, and just broke left and beat everybody to the left pylon. It's ridiculous, man. It's like
fast
Tecmo Bowl kind of stuff, man. Taking it all the way back. He really took them back to high school on that play. If you check out any of his highlights from Allen High School, that's what he looked like. So that's a little bit embarrassing for the Raiders. But an amazing way to end a football game.
Cara said I would have smacked Kyler too if he did it to my team.
Alluding to the fan who may have gotten a hand in Kyler's face at the end of the game.
Yeah,
Kyler, you got to know better than to get that close, man. You're in enemy territory. They don't want to celebrate with you, my brother.
Especially with your helmet off, man. Hey, you surprised nobody threw a drink in his face or nothing.
Or something. They Raiders fans. You know they the grimiest. Hey. So I picked the Raiders because I felt like Davante Adams was going to take them over the top. And if you really look at what he did, which isn't very much, it's almost like if he would have made one or two plays more than he did, they could have come back with a win. Only losing by 3. In terms of fantasy, he had 7.2 points in the first drive, and he finished the game with 9 points total. So outside of what he did opening the football game, he was somewhat non-existent. And I feel like if he would have made a play or two on the back end in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, or in overtime, the game went to overtime, right?
I want to say it did it?
If it didn't go into overtime, they scored, so it didn't go into overtime. But
not too
they
sure.
had plenty of opportunity to get Davante the football, and he didn't come down with it. So that makes sense that Arizona came away with the win.
And they did pull through for that 29-23 dub Cardinals. So yeah, man, that was huge. And
that hurts, man. That hurts. And I almost picked Arizona. I picked them in week 1. They let me down. I sold on week 2, and they get the win. So I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Hey, me and you both, because we honestly, I didn't. Our records, man. You went 4-5. I went 5-4. So yeah. We go. I'm trying to. One of these weeks, I'm gonna go 9-0. One of these weeks, man, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, gotta go 9-0. Yeah, man.
Weeks on the Breesy picks, man. But yeah, man, that was. And then of course, the last one we had our game, Bucs and Saints. We both went to the Saints, and we ended up losing that game 20-10. But we'll rebound with the Panthers, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, and so when I picked that game, I think I alluded to the first team to 20 points was going to win. I think I had it picked 27-21 or 24-21 if one of our long drives ended up in a field goal, and that long drive that I kind of mentioned, which I think would have took us to no, it would have took us to either 6 points or 13. We fumbled on. So I feel like we could have gotten closer to that 20-point range that we needed to, but they were the first team to do so on the interception return for a touchdown, and that made it a little more grim. Playing from behind isn't our forte. We kind of learned that week 1, where we had to do everything in the world just to win by 1 point. So it makes sense that the game ended out this way, being that they beat us to 20 points.
And we
We got
shot.
to get started a lot faster.
We do, man, and I feel like we started faster in against the Bucs than we did against the Falcons, of course. But we shot ourselves in the foot. And in the day, we shot ourselves in the foot. On 3 turnovers was huge, and yeah, man, we just got to do better. We got to hold on to the football. We got to protect that football. Point blank. Period. We do
Yeah,
that.
we scored on the opening drive. I've really felt like if we would have gotten 7 instead of that drive ending short and we get a field goal, that would have set us up a lot better to go win the football game as well. So small little things. It's the little things at this point. It's not the big things where we're killing ourselves throughout the whole football game. It's certain plays where we just have to come out on top a little bit better than we did this week.
Yeah, that indeed. And last but not least, I want to talk about fantasy football between our games, man. I finally got me a dub.
Yeah.
1-1, another big week for us. But yeah, man, I'll bring up mine real quick. I ended up winning 138 to 111. Like I said, Tyreek Hill went off for me with 42 points. Smith came through at 15. Got Winston over there 10. Metcalf at 7. Cordell didn't do what I thought he was gonna do. He only got 5 points, but yeah, he got Hunt over there with 9 and Hawkinson with 5. So, and on his end, of course, Justin Herbert went off, even though
indeed.
He went off with 24. St. Brown over there just matching Hill over down there over there with 39 points himself.
That was the big thing. You should have won by a whole lot more than you did. But St. Brown went for a crazy game out there for Detroit, helping them get the win.
Philly defense, too. That was huge for me, too, with 12 points.
Yeah. And that's going to be huge for you throughout the whole season. They're only getting better. They're young, like we said. And they specialize in taking the football away, man. So with Nakobe Dean out there subbing in at linebacker and Darius Slade roaming around back there, y'all got Philly has the speed that it needs. So that's only going to serve well for your fantasy team.
Yep. And I had Morstead on the bench with 10 points and A-Rod 16. But yeah, man, finally got me a dub, Floyd. I'm happy. I'm moving into
got in the win column. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I needed that.
You sure did. It's a competitive league. So we have 4 teams that are 2-0, 4 teams that are 1-1, and 4 teams that are 0-2. So this week is going to be almost the biggest week of the season for everybody. Any team that doesn't come away with a win in week 3 is going to be kind of set back. This is kind of where we're going to separate who's good and who needs to make some moves.
It's a separation week right here.
Trying to tell you.
And
I got to go 3-0.
Yeah, and man, I'm telling you, as long as Allen and Diaz keep doing what they doing on your end, Floyd, you are all right, my boy. Because they're putting up damn near what 70 points along with 2
by themselves, 75 points.
Man,
off top.
Not to mention Montgomery 15. Yeah, man. Hey, you looking right over there, man. You looking real.
We decent, and so we expected. I expected David Montgomery to carry my running back stable. I don't have a lot in the backfield, as you see. I have Isaiah McKenzie, my fourth wide receiver, out in my flex, whereas a lot of people use a running back there, but I just don't have it. So I had to get creative and kind of capitalize off of those double touchdowns from those Buffalo players and my quarterback. But Montgomery didn't play very well in week 1, so I was nervous and thinking about making a move and getting another running back. So it's good to see him take off. But yeah, like you said, 75 points for my number 1 and number 2 picks. Or actually, Diggs was the 3rd pick. I picked Adams before him, and I took Josh Allen a little bit later actually. But yeah, man, we trying to do a little something. So we hoping we can go 3-0 next week. And if I do, I'm playing another team that's 2-0. So I'll probably be the number 1 seed. So, we'll see how it looks, but I'm feeling good about my team right now.
Oh yeah. And your bench, yeah, Watkins over the 12.30 over there. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I didn't notice you benched New Orleans defense. That was a good call because Green Bay ended up coming on 9 points for you. So that was a good call right there.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Green Bay would play a little bit better. Chicago runs a very slow tempo. So I didn't want to see a lot of points put up on my defense, and excuse me, it came to fruition. I also feel like I could have won a whole lot more comfortably if Devontae Adams showed up in
Yep.
Arizona. Well, it was in Las Vegas, but against Arizona. So if I can get those guys to really give me 15, 16 plus every time they play football, I'll be looking good. A lot better than I did this week. I won't be as nervous.
I tell you a team to beat. You a team to beat in that fantasy, man. You
I'm,
and
I'm, I'm getting up there. I'm feeling good about it. I'm not gonna lie.
and I
Feeling
hate
good about it.
I had to play you week 1, but hey, I'm glad I could go ahead and get my little L out the way.
That's the thing. Yeah, we got it out the way early. But it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be
Hey,
fun.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
What's it
So
like 1600 on the line, something like that, man.
it's up to man. But yeah, man, that's it, man. We chopped it up, man. We talked about the Brawl, we talked about the Saints, fantasy football. Hey, week 3, hopefully we can do better against them Panthers. I feel like we are, like I said, and we're gonna be all right, man. We're gonna be all right. We'll see about that about the pre-hype pod coming.
Yeah.
Sambo gonna be in the town. He coming out here to Austin or whatever. So
Oh, bet.
yeah, Sam gonna be here. So I might have him in here with us or whatever.
Jumping on for sure.
Yeah, with the podcast. But we'll see how that goes, man. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so it's a big week coming up, and it's a bounce back week, as Carmen was mentioning. So I think that they're gonna have a whole lot more firepower, a whole lot more fire in their belly, and a whole lot more pride behind them when they go out there to Carolina. I forgot Carmen right up the street, man. You might have to go out there and give us some Who Dat Spirit, out there down the tailgate or something. Parking lot pimp.
That's
something,
it,
man.
Something. Hey, something.
You right there. So
well, we're gonna be all right. I feel like we'll get this dub this weekend, man. I ain't gonna sweat it. I ain't gonna hold on to this L for too long. It still hurts, but I ain't gonna hold on for too long.
Yeah, it's a top tier league, top tier team in the league. So if they were ranking the teams in tiers 1 through 4, Tampa Bay is in that top tier. So as far as that defense goes, they are holding teams to not a lot of points. So it's not out of the norm that we saw some issues. It's just a little concerning the way that the turnovers presented themselves, but we're gonna make it happen.
So I was trying.
I feel you. I already know, bro, because that's a hop, skip, and a jump for you. You right there. I figured you would be somewhere close. But hey, anytime you in the same state as the home team and cheering for them, they feel that spirit. So you're going to be right there with them in spirit. I already know.
That's it. But that is it, man, for this week's pod for WhoDatTV. Again, it's Who Dat. We're going to be all right.
Yes, man. Yes, man. They got to turn it around, right the ship.
And also, man, I'm going to play our song going out. Shout out to Kid Timmy D again for the song, man. I'm going to shout you out every time, my boy, because hey, the song is hard.
Yes, indeed. Got us all the way right. Let's get it.
But that is it, man. Who Dat Floyd? And yeah, man, hope we'll tune in, bro.
Who Dat, bro? We'll see y'all Sunday. Drop in the comments anything y'all want to bring up, and we'll talk about it, man. Let's get it.
That's it.
They gon' beat them Saints. Who that? Who that? Yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Well, you ain't, cause you can't. Yeah. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Well, you ain't, cause you can't. Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Let's get it. I'd like to thank Draye Allen and Jared Floyd for this opportunity. And yeah, this is not for no Falcon fans whatsoever. Yeah, we don't fuck with y'all. If you my friend, you my friend. But if you're a Falcon fan, we don't fuck with y'all. Yeah, hey, yeah, let's go.